All right, what I want to talk about today is kind of a 30,000 foot view of how muscles work. And this is going to be a little bit oversimplified, but I think it's a really helpful framework as we work through some of these workouts. So if you think about it down to the fiber level of the muscle, muscles are made up of a bunch of different fibers. Those fibers create this length, this long muscle or short muscle, depending on where it's at in our body. And we can let's think about a specific muscle. Let's think about my bicep here. So this muscle is made up of a bunch of short little fibers that then in total make up the muscle that attaches down here at my elbow and up at my shoulder. So in order for my bicep to contract, there's a neurological signal that gets sent down, an electrical signal, and part of it's a chemical signal, and on that neurological system, it can contract the muscle. So at the fiber level, if we go all the way down there and zoom into those individual fibers, the muscle fibers are binary. They are either contracted 100% or they're relaxed 100%, which is interesting, right? Because if you think about it, I can contract my muscle a little bit, a lot, or anything in between there. So what is happening is that my neurological system that turns on or off those muscle fibers is turning off a larger or smaller percentage depending on how much force is required for said task or whatever the thing is that I'm doing. So that's very interesting, right? Let's hold that to the side for a second. Another thing that's really valuable to know about muscles is there's 3 types of muscle contractions, especially if you look at it from kind of like an exercise science perspective. So there's the 3 types of muscle contractions, and these are all going to show up in the gym at certain points. Number 1 is called a concentric contraction. So what that means is the length of the muscle is shortening, and the length of the muscle fibers, when I contract them, is shortening, right? Because again, when we talked about the binary fibers, when they're on, they shorten. I guess I didn't mention that. But that's essentially all the fibers do, is they shorten, they contract. And then when they relax, they lengthen. So back to that concentric contraction. It's shortening of the fibers and shortening of the length of the muscle. The next one is an eccentric contraction. So now it's the opposite. It's lengthening of the muscle, but a shortening of the fibers at the same time, which is a little bit contradictory, but that's one of as a side note, there's a lot of value in that contradictory component of it. And then the third type of muscle contraction is the in-between. So this is an isometric. This is, again, a shortening of the fibers, but now there's no change, there's no length change in the muscle itself. It just stays here. So you can think of holding something really heavy, holding your child, holding groceries, something like that. So each of those type of muscle fiber has a myriad of benefits depending on what we're going for. And I'm not going to dive down too many of those rabbit holes, even though they're super fascinating. And we'll talk about some of that stuff in a later video. But for now, I just want you to take away that the muscle fibers themselves are contracted either 100% or 0%. The way that we turn on greater percentage of those muscles is through our neurological system. And then I want you to remember that there's 3 types of muscle contractions, which is this shortening, isometric, or lengthening. But the common thread of all of them is they all shorten the muscle fibers. I hope that's helpful. There's going to be more stuff coming where this will kind of tie together, but just the 30,000 foot view on how muscles work. All right.